Hello, students. I welcome you all in the class of history. Yes, today in from social science, we will choose the topic of history. History, chapter number 3, and the name of the chapter is The Nationalism in India. Fine. As we have done the nationalism in Europe earlier, now we will do the nationalism in India. In this chapter, we will discuss that how the nationalism feelings were created in India. This is the main topic. Okay, as we have discussed in the nationalism in Europe, that how the different leaders, social reformers come forward to create the nationalist feelings among the peoples of India and Europe. But now in this chapter, we will discuss how the nationalism feelings were created in Indian people among the all Indian peoples. Okay, so who came forward in this regard? So definitely Mahatma Gandhi's name. How can we forget this? Fine. So he was the person. He was one of the main person. Okay, who come forward, and given his contribution, given his whole life for the sake of Indian people, or creating a nationalist feelings among the people. Fine. So first of all, we will discuss the first topic, that is the First World War, Khilafat and non-cooperation movement. Okay, in this topic, we will discuss the effects of war first of all. Fine. What were the effects of the First World War on Indian people? Fine. So, the First World War led to a huge increase in the defense expenditure. Custom duties were raised. Income tax was also introduced. Through the war years, prices increased to double, leading to extreme hardships for common people. Their crops were failed in many parts of India, resulting shortage of food. In the background, if we talk about in the background of the First World War, the government took various measures that set the stage for widespread agitation against the government in return. People's hopes for the end of hardships after the war were raised. At this new leadership emerged with a new model of struggle. From the above development, there spread the hurted and great discontent among masses. Because the people were thinking after First World War, definitely they will get their India back. Definitely there will be a less influence of Britishers. But but happened totally against of it. So that's why the peoples were totally enraged. From the world development, there spread the hurted great discontent among masses. This paved the way for the rise of nationalism in India. That's why the people, the leaders, the social reformers of that time, they felt that there should be a nationalism feeling should be created among the people of India. So this was the main factor of creating the nationalism feelings in India. So now we will move to the next topic, that is idea of satyagrah. Question can come to you in this regard also, that what is meant by the idea of satyagrah, or you can have the question like explain the idea of satyagrah according to Gandhiji. According to Gandhiji, the idea of satyagrah emphasizes the power of truth and the need to search for truth. Okay, to him it is a novel method of mass agitation which he called through non-violence. This could be done by appealing to the conscience of oppressors. Mahatma Gandhi believed that this dharma of non-violence could unite all Indians. That's why we know that Mahatma Gandhi returned to India in January 1915. Okay, he had come from South Africa actually, where he had successfully fought the racist regime with the novel methods of mass agitation. Fine. After arriving in India, Mahatma Gandhi successfully organized satyagraha movements in various places. In 1916, he traveled to Champaran in Bihar to inspire the peasants to struggle against the oppressive plantation system. Then, in 1917, he organized a satyagraha to support the peasants of Kheda districts of Gujarat, affected by the crop failure by a plague epidemic. The peasants of Kheda districts could not pay the revenue and were demanding the revenue collection be relaxed. In 1918, Mahatma Gandhi went to Ahmedabad also to organize a satyagraha movement amongst the cotton mill workers. Fine. So these were the movements, these were the visits which has been done by the Gandhiji. Fine. To create satyagraha in different places. He was moving to all the places. He was listening the problems of the peoples. Okay, and he was creating the feelings of satyagraha among the people, and he was making them aware about the satyagrahas. He was persuading them that if they will follow satyagraha, definitely their problems, their sufferings will be in end. Okay. Now we will move to the next topic, that is the Rowlatt Act. Rowlatt Act was the act that was started in 1919. Gandhiji in 1919 actually decided a launch to nationwide satyagraha against the proposed Rowlatt Act. But before that, we will discuss that what is Rowlatt Act. This act had been hurriedly passed actually through the Imperial Legislative Council despite the united opposition of Indian members. It gave the government enormous power. It was an act which gave the enormous power to the repress political activities and allowed detention of political prisoners without trial for 2 years. Yes, Britishers, after getting this act, they were in the power to capture the peoples, capture the activists, capture the all the peoples who were followers of Satyagraha. If they found any person guilty, they can arrest that person without any trial for 2 years. This was a particular the things which were about the Rowlatt Act. Mahatma Gandhi wanted non-violent civil disobedience against such unjust laws actually. Okay, so they were not in the favor of this Rowlatt Act because they knew that this Rowlatt Act gave enormous power to the Britishers. If they will start any activity related to Satyagraha, they knew that they will be captured without any trial for 2 years. Fine. So, what was going over there? Rallies were organized in various cities. Workers went on strike. Railway workshops and shops closed down. The people were in rage and different activities were going on. Okay, alarmed by the popular upsurge, sacred that lines of communication such as the railway and telegraph would be disrupted. The British administration, decided to clamp down all nationalists. So what they did? Who took the command for all these things? That was a General Dyer. General Dyer took the command. Martial law was imposed and General Dyer, took the command. So what was happened? The famous Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Fine. So on 13 April, the infamous Jallianwala Bagh incident took place. On that day, a large crowd gathered in the enclosed ground of Jallianwala Bagh. Some came to protest against the government new repressive measures, and other came to attend the annual Baisakhi fair. We know that just near the Jallianwala Bagh there is a golden temple. Fine. So some peoples, they were not aware about it. They were from the villages even. We know that village people, they don't know about the activities or political activities which were going on. So they just came to attend the Baisakhi fair over there. Being from outside the city, many villagers were unaware of the martial law and had been imposed. Dyer entered the area. What did he do? Dyer entered the area, blocked the exit points, and opened fire on the crowd, killing hundreds. His object, as he declared later, was to produce a moral effect. Lastly, he declared this thing also, that he want to produce a moral effects. That's why he created such thing in Jallianwala Bagh massacre. So as the news of Jallianwala Bagh spread, crowds took to the streets in many North Indian towns. Strikes were there, clashes were there, police and attacks on government buildings. The government responded with brutal repression, seeking to humiliate that terrorists. Satyagrahis were forced to rub their nose on the ground. They humiliated Indian people in this way also. They crawl on the streets and they do salams, salute to all sahibs. That times the sahibs were known for Britishers. Britishers, used to call themselves by the Indians like a sahibs. Fine. So they humiliated all the satyagrahis in a different way. Pakistan, now in Pakistan, that was, I'm talking about the Gujranwala. The peoples were flogged and villages around Gujranwala in Punjab now, which is now in Pakistan, were bombed. Seeing violence spread, Mahatma Gandhi called off the movement. Okay, as we discussed that Rowlatt Satyagraha had been a widespread movement, it was still limited mostly to cities and towns only. Mahatma Gandhi now felt the need to launch a more broad-based movement in India. but it was certain that no such movement could be organized without bringing the Hindu and Muslim close together. Actually, that time Hindu and Muslim, there were lots of issues. So Mahatma Gandhi knew this thing. Without bringing the Hindus and Muslim close together, he can't organize such type or huge movement. Okay, so he moved to that era now. What he did, he felt to take up the Khilafat issue. Okay, now we will discuss what was Khilafat issue. What was Khilafat movement? After the First World War ended with the defeat of Ottoman Turkey, there were rumors that a harsh peace treaty was going to be imposed on the Ottoman Emperor. Ottoman Emperor, the spiritual head of the Islamic world, the Khalifa. Fine. To defend the Khalifa's temporal powers, a Khilafat committee was formed in Bombay in March 1919. After the Rowlatt Act, Mahatma Gandhi felt that the need launch a widespread movement in India to bring the Hindu and Muslim closer. What he did, he felt to take the Khilafat issue, as we have discussed earlier. So Muslim leaders Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali. These were the main leaders of Khilafat movement. Okay, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali. These were two brothers. They began discussing with Gandhiji the possibility of a united mass action on the issue. Later at Calcutta session in September 1920, Gandhiji convinced the leaders in Congress to start a non-cooperation movement in support of Khilafat. Fine. So this was all about the Khilafat issue, Khilafat movement. In his famous book Hind Swaraj, Mahatma Gandhi declared that British rule was established in India with the cooperation of Indians and had survived only because of the cooperation. If India refused to cooperate, British rule in India would collapse within a year and Swaraj would come. This was the main idea of Mahatma Gandhi. That's why he started a non-cooperation movement. How could non-cooperation become a movement? Now this is the question. Gandhiji proposed that movement should unfold in stages. It should begin with the surrender of titles. So first of all, what the people of India did, the boycott of all services, army, police, courts, legislative councils, schools, they boycott each and everything. Okay, then in case the government used repression, definitely the government has to take a revenge for all the activities. A full civil disobedience campaign would be launched. Through the summer of 1920, Mahatma Gandhi and Shaukat Ali, toured extensively, mobilizing people, popular support for the movement. Many within the Congress were, however, concerned about the proposal actually. They were reluctant to boycott the council election scheduled for November 1920 and they feared that the movement might lead to popular violence. Now the topic is how did the movement unfold and who participated in it? And how did different social groups conceive to the idea of non-cooperation? So the movement in the towns, first of all, we will discuss. As we know that the Khilafat movement began in January 1921, various social groups participated in this movement. The movement in the towns, we will discuss. The movement started with the middle class participants. Thousands of students left government controlled of schools, colleges, headmasters, teachers resigned. They resigned from their jobs. Lawyers also gave up their titles. Legal practices. The council elections were boycotted in the provinces except Madras. Fine, where the Justice Party, the party of the non-Brahmins, felt that entering the council was one way of, gaining some powers. So now we will discuss what were the effects of non-cooperation movement. At economic front, if we talk about, they were more dramatic. Foreign goods were boycotted. Liquor shops also picketed. Foreign clothes burned in huge bonfires. As Gandhiji's one call, for the non-cooperation movement, the peoples were, they were doing the, they were following this movement in a different way. At economic front, as we are discussing, it's dramatic. Foreign goods were boycotted, liquor shops picked it up, foreign clothes burned in a huge bonfire. The import of foreign cloth halved between. It was halved between 1921 to 1922. Okay, so as the boycott movement spread, the people began discarding imported clothes and wearing only Indian ones. Fine, production of Indian textiles, definitely it has to be now boomed up. Okay, so but this movement in the cities, it's gradually slowed down. It was gradually slowed down. So question can come to you people also, why this movement in cities gradually slowed down? It was slowed down for variety of reasons. First was Khadi cloth was often more expensive than mass produced mill cloth, and poor people could not afford to buy it. Fine. How then could they boycott milk cloth for too long? They can't. So similarly, the boycott of British institution also posed a problem. For the movement to be successful, alternative Indian institution had to be set up so that they could be used in place of the British ones. But it was not there. So these were slow to come up. No, so students and teachers, what they did, they began trickling back to the government schools, and liars joined back work in the government courts. This was the main problem. That's why this movement in cities gradually slowed down. Okay, the peoples or the teachers, who were participating in that type of movement, they must have an alternative of that institutions, but it was not there. That's why this movement was slowed down in cities. This movement was, spreading in different areas, from town to cities, and now it moves to the countryside. It drew into the fold struggles of the peasants and tribal, which were developing in different parts of India in the years after the war. Okay, we are having a lots of examples of different areas. In Awadh, peasants were led by Baba Ram Chandra, who was a sannyasi and who had earlier been to a Fiji. Fine. So the movement here was against talukadars. So peoples were starting their movements as per their sufferings. Wherever they were sufferers, they started a movement in the different folds. So I think this movement is having a different face, different way, different meaning for different people. Fine. Remember, students, if you remember that in nationalism in Europe chapter, we have discussed that the term liberalism. Fine. As the liberalism was different for different people, same as okay, the Satyagraha, non-cooperation movement, it was different for different peoples. Okay, so now if we talk about the different peasants, they were also sufferers in different areas. We are taking the example of Awadh here. They had to do begar actually. So, what do you mean by begar? First of all, begar and work at landlords' farms without any payment. You can have a one term also. It is already given in your book. That what is begar? Begar means labor that villagers were forced to contribute without any payment. Means they were forced to do the work without any payment, but they were not getting any payment for this. Okay, so this was known as a begar. So different peoples were having a different sufferings over there. So they were participating in the movements which was started by Gandhiji. Fine. Next is, as we were discussing that in different areas the peoples were started this movement, or started participating in these movements, started struggling against the British peoples. So workers too had their own understandings of Mahatma Gandhi and the notion of Swaraj. Fine. For plantation workers in Assam, freedom meant that right to move freely in and out of the confined space in which they were enclosed. Fine. So they believed that Gandhi Raj was coming and everyone would be given land in their own villages. They, however, never reached their destination. Strands on the way by a railway and steamer strike. They were caught up by the police and brutally beaten up also. Fine. So different visions of these movements were not defined by the Congress program. As we are discussing that different peoples, they interpreted the terms of Raj in their own ways, imagining it to be the time when all sufferings and all trouble would be over. Yet when the tribals chanted Gandhiji's name and raised slogans demanding Swatantra Bharat, they were also emotionally relating to an all Indian agitation. When they acted in the name of Mahatma Gandhi or linked their movement to that of the Congress, they were identifying with a movement which went beyond the limits of their immediate locality. Fine. So now we will discuss about the a Chauri Chora case also. A Chauri Chora in Gorakhpur, a peaceful demonstration in a bazaar turned into a violent clash with the police. Hearing of this, Mahatma Gandhi called a halt to the non-cooperation movement. So it was stopped over there. Mahatma Gandhi withdrew the non-cooperation movement. Fine, in February 1922. He felt that movement was turning violent in many places, and satyagrahis needed to be properly trained before they would be ready for mass struggle. Fine. So he called off the movement.